Hello guys, it's me Simo Orahara, and in this video we'll talk about the 10th episode. This episode was good in terms of animation, and as you have seen, the fight of Onohana and Zaraki was divided. It began in the last episode and ended as I expected in the first half of this episode, while the second half dealt with the events of Nimaya Witsu, the Zanpakuto maker. That's why I'm going to focus only on Onohana's fight, and honestly, I expected to see some additions regarding Zaraki in Onohana's fight, especially Onohana's Bankai. This Bankai, everyone believed that the anime would add clear scenes that show the nature of its work. I mean, imagine with me that almost every BLEACH characters, when they want to release their own Shikai or Bankai, they themselves explain the nature of their Bankai. And the last example we have seen is Yamamoto. Yamamoto, with every launch of Zanka no Tachi, was giving you an information about its ability. It's true that this matcher might sometimes be not good because you explain your ability to the opponent, as happened with Hirako when he explained his Shikai ability to Aizen Soseki. But like what you have seen, this is one of Kobo's methods of writing. He gives you information of how an ability works by having the character explain it. So here is a simple question: why didn't he make Onohana do the same thing with Zaraki? And they are not originally enemies, but it's just a fight to restore Zaraki's power. So there will be no problem writing a scene of Onohana releasing the Bankai, and then Zaraki will be surprised, and then she will tell him, this is my Bankai, perhaps the first time you see it, its ability such and such. And the topic will end. But repeating what we saw in the manga with some fighting scenes did not exceed a few seconds, I don't find it a good thing, especially since everyone wanted to end this endless topic. And the funny thing, I have just done quick search on the internet and I found the fans are still talking about many possibilities of the ability of the Bankai. Some says it's an acid and it made Zaraki melt, and some said it's not a real thing, and I'm one of those. So see what I'm talking about. All we needed is just a few words from Onohana's lips that would have ended this topic forever. And the problem is that it's not like she will wake up and then engage in another battle and release her Bankai so that we can see her ability again. No, it's over, no more Onohana. On the other hand, I stopped a lot at this scene and exactly this sentence, because it caused me a malfunction in my brain servers. What do they mean by this sentence? Exactly how many hundred years have passed? Because I don't know how many centuries ago this battle took place, especially as I said in my last video that there is a scene of Onohana with a scar with the Goche 13, the original, which may indicate that this battle took place 1000 years ago. Originally, what made me base my assumption on this scene is that it's an additional scene that doesn't exist in the manga, and it's said that Kobo is the supervisor of the anime, so it's difficult to believe that they made such mistake, because if this is really a mistake, then it will become hard for me to take everything it said in the anime, because when I wanna say something from the manga, someone will come up and say, stop, Kobo is working on the anime and he changed this matchup. Then someone will come else and say, no, the anime just made a mistake. Therefore, I wish they would have determined more accurately the time period of that fight, because this small information plays a big role in determining the course of many events in the story. So the important thing, the story began at the time when Onohana was still a Kenpachi and the founder of the 11th division, so that every time she wandered around the Reikongai areas to satisfy her thirsty of blood and fight, and she did not find what she wanted, and it seems that this person was playing the role of Isani. He seriously knew what she wanted, so when he came to tell her that he didn't find anyone to fight her, he thought that the pile of corpses behind Onohana, she's the one who killed them, but the truth, it turned out, She's not the one, but little Zaraki. Imagine with me a boy who isn't even a Shinigami with a sword killed all of those people. And what's more crazy, he was stronger than Unohana, who was the first Kenpachi at the time. And here frankly a question must be raised. How can a soul like Zaraki have such brutal strength to the point of overcoming a captain who was considered one of the most captains in the history of the Soul Society? Now all I think of is that Zaraki is like abnormal phenomenon that occurs time to time in the history of the world of Bleach, like Ichibi, like the Soul King, so that every time nature brings out characters with unusual characteristics like Aizen Sasuke, Ichigo Kurosaki, or even Toshiro. This may be one of the reasons why Zaraki was strong since his childhood, because his strength exceeded Unohana to the point where he subconsciously put seals on his strength and suppressed his power in order to enjoy the battle. And whoever wants more detail on this particular point, you can watch this video in which I spoke about the mechanism of Zaraki's power based on what came in this episode. And so because Zaraki suppressed his power, Unohana was able to overcome him and inflicted him with that wound on his face, which made him faint. After that scene, the fight ended. Unohana extracted one fact, which is that title of Kenpachi should be given to this boy and that she does not deserve it. Of course, we don't know what happened after that. Did she trade Zaraki, or did she leave him alone and did not meet after that? The anime also didn't elaborate on this point. All we saw was Zaraki's appearance later with Yashiro, where he fought the 10th Kenpachi, Kikanjo, and this is the first official appearance of him in the anime. Of course, the interval between Zaraki's fight with Unohana and the 10th Kenpachi made Zaraki's power decrease a lot due to many seals that become on his power. Therefore, as Unohana said, in his fight against Ichigo or Noichura, he hardly lost and hardly won. That's why she might be the one who suggested to Kyorako in the first place the issue of training Zaraki, since she knew how to restore his powers by bringing him to the brink of death, re-healing him, fighting him again, and so forth. So Unohana's plan was simple, to bring him to the Mugen and do the process that we have just talked about it. And so Zaraki would have lost consciousness dozens of times and Unohana would treat him and then he would wake up and fight again. With every awakening, part of his latent strength was released until he reached the last stage where Unohana used the Bankai. And as I said, as long as there are no words from the owner of the Bankai herself or words from Kobo, we will do as we did in the manga to try to describe what we have seen. As I saw, the Bankai in terms of shape is similar to Hisaki's Bankai. Each one of them forms an environment in which the owner of the Bankai and his opponent fight. In the case of Unohana, the place is covered in blood. But is that blood real or is just a kind of illusion? Because, for example, when the old man used Zanpakuto, we saw the effect of the flames on his surroundings, even after he stopped using the Bankai. And the same thing happened with Toshiro when he used Bankai for the first time against Aizen Sasuke. But in the case of Unohana, it was completely different. As soon as she stopped the Bankai, everything that was going around them disappeared, as if that blood had never been in that place. Therefore, I think the blood may not be physical, but only seen by the owner of the Bankai and the opponent. And even these scenes goes in that context, so that Zaraki imagined the feeling of melting as if he was literally melting. But in reality, it was not like that. Because if you complete the entire scene, you will see that Zaraki was in a daydream and woke up as if nothing had happened. And another similarity between Hisagi and Unohana's Bankai is the issue of the wound when the Bankai is released. If you notice, when Zaraki caught Unohana in this shot, the wound did not heal, but rather the place of the hit returned as it was before, whether the wound or Unohana's Shihakusho. Even when she received this hit on her face, the wound disappeared in the next scene, and in the end, when she was sure that Zaraki's power was back to him, she decided to stop using the Bankai. That's why I said it was easy for Kobo to let Unohana explain her Bankai, as long as it wouldn't be a factor in defeating her, since she had already sacrificed herself for Zaraki. Another thing I wish had been added in the anime is Kobo's sketches that was in the last of each chapter of that battle. When the battle between them started, Kubo had been drawing Zaraki Zanpakuto at the end of each chapter, so that with every advance in the battle, Zaraki Zanpakuto was screaming until the battle ended. That's when Zaraki Zanpakuto's voice became able to reach him, and as you have seen, Zaraki Zanpakuto turned out to be the voice of an adult woman, and thus this makes Zaraki one of the few Shinigami's characters in the manga who are male and have Zanpakuto female, like Kisuke Urahara, Kyoraku, as well as Azuro Soya. So guys, what do you think? Tell me what you think about Urahara's Bankai and the fight overall. Give me your opinion and see you in my next video.